Milan is one of the best teams in world football with many achievements. Their achievements and records are still being talked about even after years. However, it seems that Milan, which once struck fear into its rivals, is nowadays not a trace of its former self. So what is happening to Milan, which has been terrorizing world football for years? Why can't they regain the success of their former glory days? You will find out in a moment, but first don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Milan, one of the best teams ever to play in Serie A, was relegated to Serie B after match-fixing news emerged in the early 1980s. Relegated for the first time in their history, Milan were relegated to Serie B twice in these few years, but eventually they managed to get back to Serie A again. After this period of ups and downs, a very different Milan emerged. In 1986, Silvio Berlusconi, an Italian bureaucrat and investor, bought Milan, and a period of change began at the club. Berlusconi's main goal was to make Milan one of the best teams in the world and thus gain fame. Berlusconi started by bringing Arrigo Sacchi, who was seen as one of the best technical directors of that period, to the team. Berlusconi's goals were big, this was not enough. Therefore, Berlusconi brought Dutch star footballers Ruud Gullit, Marco van Basten, and Frank Rijkaard to the team. Under the leadership of Sacchi, the team won the Serie A championship only once, but they performed incredibly well in Europe, winning the Champions League twice in a row. The three Dutch footballers brought to the team by Berlusconi also showed an outstanding performance and became the top three candidates for the Ballon d'Or that year. In 1991, Fabio Capello, a former Milan footballer who ended his career at Milan, took over as the team's technical director. After Capello took charge of the team, Milan became a giant in Italy and became Serie A champions for 3 times in a row. Moreover, the team under Capello won the Champions League once and lost once in the final. Looking at all these, Milan was seen as unrivaled in the late 1980s and early 1990s as they achieved great success both in Serie A and in Europe. While everything was going well, things changed in 1996 when the manager Capello left the club. For a while, Milan was far from its old successful days, but fortunately this situation did not last long. In 2001, Carlo Ancelotti was brought in as technical director. With the arrival of Ancelotti, the club was on the rise again and achieved great success around the world. Between 2003 and 2007, Milan managed to lift the Champions League trophy twice and showed everyone that they were back to their successful days. While everything was going well, the Calciopoli match-fixing scandal, which became an agenda in the country in 2006, greatly affected the club. Milan was also accused in this period, and the club received a minus 15-point deduction penalty, but despite all these negativities, the team had a successful season, finishing 4th in the league with 61 points. The secret of all this success was that Milan had by far one of the best squads in the world between 2003 and 2007. Having a squad that included world star footballers such as Maldini, Nesta, Kaka Seedorf, Shevchenko, Pirlo, and Cafu, Milan was terrorizing its rivals at that time. While everything was going well in the club, some problems started to emerge again. In 2007, after the team won the Champions League, President Berlusconi stated that he could no longer invest in the club as much as before. This situation caused Milan's world star footballers to leave the club over time and the legendary squad to disintegrate. In fact, this event led Berlusconi to say to Maldini, the team captain, "Don't expect more from me anymore. We need to change and get younger. I am tired of corruption and match-fixing cases." In 2008, Berlusconi became the Prime Minister of Italy again, and this made him no longer as influential at Milan as before. The year 2009 was the year when the club started to decline completely. Because both the legendary squad had aged, Ancelotti had left the team, and Kaká, one of the best footballers in the world at that time, had been transferred to Real Madrid. In short, after all these events, the team, which once terrorized world football, almost collapsed. In 2009, after Ancelotti left the team, an inexperienced Leonardo Araujo was brought in. This was a very wrong decision because although the Milan squad under Leonardo had both experienced and young world star footballers, expectations were not met in the 2009 to 2010 season. After an unsuccessful season under Leonardo, Massimiliano Allegri was brought in to take charge of the team. After Allegri took over the team, the club became champion in the 2010 to 2011 season. Shortly after the championship, Allegri said, "Being a coach is a very stressful job. I will probably leave this profession in 10 years. Berlusconi was officially shocked when he heard his statement. While all this was going on, and Thiago Silva and Ibrahimovic, the most important players of the team, were also sold, Allegri's morale seemed to have deteriorated and he seemed to have finalized his decision to leave the team. Shortly after that, he made a statement targeting Berlusconi and was fired from the team. After Allegri's departure, former Milan footballer Clarence Seedorf, who quit football just 2 days ago, was appointed as the head coach. Seedorf, who had no experience in coaching, finished 8th in his first season at Milan. Although Seedorf's performance on the pitch was good, Berlusconi did not like Seedorf's performance as a coach and fired him. After Seedorf left the club, he was replaced by Filippo Inzaghi, another Milan legend. When Inzaghi finished the 2014 to 2015 season in 10th place, similar to Seedorf, the old team spirit was lost. Montella, who took over as the technical director of the team in 2016 after these complexities in the team, brought the club its first trophy after a years-long break. Milan under Montella finished that season in 6th place and qualified for the European Cups. But despite all this, the club also had a fan problem. The fans were very angry with Berlusconi because Milan had lost its former power. While the protests continued to increase intensely, Berlusconi, the owner of the club, could no longer stand all this and sold the club to Chinese businessman Li Yonghong for 740 million euros in 2017. Yonghong, the new president of the club, announced that he wanted to bring the team back to its old days by promising great investment. Yonghong spent 190 million euros in his first transfer season and brought star footballers to the team. However, despite all the spending, Montella was fired when he could not show the desired performance. After Montella was fired, Gattuso, a former Milan legend, came in his place. While all this was happening, the then Chinese president Yonghong could not repay the loan he used to buy the club, and the club was sold again. This time, the club was bought by the US company Elliott Management, and the new president of Milan was Paolo Scaroni. Milan came very close to qualifying for the Champions League under the leadership of Gattuso. In the first year, despite spending nearly 290 million euros, the team could not qualify for the Champions League. After these failures, Gattuso left the team. Due to many reasons such as wrong decisions, failed transfers, lost team spirit, confusion had emerged in Milan, and action had to be taken to regain the team spirit and unity. After the protests against the US investors, the management has made many changes in the club since then to stop these protests. The technical directors, the transfers, and the money spent have never been able to bring Milan back to the success of the old days. In recent weeks, the team's technical director has changed again, and this time, Sergio Conceição has taken over. Milan is currently in 8th place in Serie A with 27 points and is struggling far behind its rivals. Although the team is currently competing in the Champions League, they are far from their championship dreams. As a result, there are many reasons why Milan is weaker than its former successful days. Wrong decisions, constant changes in the management, inexperienced coaching choices, and many other reasons have caused the team to lose its old spirit and stay far from its old successful days. So what do you think the future holds for Milan? Will they be able to return to the days when they dominated world football? Leave your thoughts in the comments. For the continuation of such videos, you can show us this by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. See you in the next videos.